The Undead Celluloid Society welcomes you into another podcast. My name is Michael.
And I'm Rachel.
And today we are covering the 1999 film, The Blair Witch Project. The Blair Witch Project is a found footage documentary about three students who are filming the titular Blair Witch Project. Along the way, they decide to get shots in the woods and they end up getting lost. Spookiness occurs after that. So before we delve into spoilers, just wanted to give you a little bit blurb. That's the gist of the film.
That's basically all that happens.
That is all that happens. It's about three people getting lost in the woods. May not seem kind of scary to you, but Rachel might be a little mad at me because I did. Spoiler alert, I told her that it was real. And she believed me.
This whole time, I'm literally thinking these three poor students actually got themselves lost in the woods and died.
Well, to be fair, my brother told me it was real when I first watched it. Made the experience 1,000 times better.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah, so this is what we're going to talk about is not anything new that has not been covered by it. This movie has been analyzed, debated for the last 25 years. So we're just going to kind of get into it about our thoughts of the film. I'm really curious to hear Rachel's thoughts about this film. So I'm gonna cut it over to her, and she is going to go through and just tell us kind of what she thought, what she liked, what she didn't like. Give me some feedback, Rachel. You were silent the whole film. I need to know what's going through your mind.
I'm going to start out by the fact that I should have known, because you're like, don't look at anything. I want you to be totally
that's true,
just immersed in it and just experience it for what it is and not be tainted. I should have freaking known, because I've looked up movies before and still had a great experience or whatever. I should have freaking known. But so as Michael said, he told me it was a real documentary, so I'm just watching this movie, and let me just start off by saying that I wasn't scared.
That's fair.
I wasn't really scared at all. There was, parts of it where you are held in suspense.
Yeah.
And you're questioning things like the noises that they hear outside at night, and then the the little kids' voices, and then the rattling of the tent, and then
they're like shaking the tent and stuff.
Yeah. I think the only part that I really got scared was when either when they were running through the woods after the kids shook the tent, or when they went into the house at the end.
Oh, Rachel, just to interrupt for a second, you gotta agree with me. That is one of the fucking creepiest houses I've ever fucking seen.
I don't know.
The little kids' hands on the walls.
Okay, yeah, that is true, but I don't know. I've been inside, what's that movie? It's like one of my favorite. Oh my gosh, I can't. Moving on.
We'll come back.
It went along so well with the quote unquote interview that they did at the beginning about the Parr, Mr. Parr,
Rustin Parr,
and how he kidnapped those 7 children and would take 2 of them at a time down to the basement and make one face the corner, kill the other one, and then kill the one that was facing the corner. So the house, the fact that it was just a house that was in the state park that they were in, and it had a basement, and I'm wondering if they put the hands on the walls because I don't know if
They did.
they did.
The directors had one of the directors had their nieces and nephews do that.
Okay, but the fact that it was in a state park, you'd think it was some I don't know, historical site or something. But so that fit really well into it, and the fact that they said that they had come up with that ending only a few short days before they filmed it.
Yeah.
So did they just happen upon this house, or did they know it was there? We don't know. They didn't say anything about that, but the parts that I liked, well, you see, now my brain's all jumbled up because me thinking this is a real freaking documentary. So I'm like, oh yes, these are true, genuine emotions. They're sobbing.
This by the way, we were filming this right after I looked at Rachel. We had just finished the film. I turned it off. I looked at her, said, "What did you think?" And she said she didn't know. And I said, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is not real." And now we just kind of got we just went straight into our podcast. So Rachel is still kind of jumbled with her thoughts. We'll come back to your thoughts of the film. We're going to do something different for this one right now.
Okay.
What do you think happened in this movie, Rachel? Since it was so ambiguous, what? Explain the ending scene best you can, and then tell me what you think happened.
Okay, so the ending scene. So they're in the tent. Heather and Mike, and Josh has disappeared. He's the third student with them. He's been gone for 2 days or something. And they found some remains of his bound to some sticks. But so they think that they hear Josh calling out for them. And so they go running through the woods and they happen upon this house that has obviously been burned or something, burned to the ground. Well, not obviously burned to the ground, but it's a creepy abandoned house. And so they both got the cameras. They're walking through it. Heather's freaking out because Mike went into the house, and they keep hearing Josh, calling for help. So they're looking all over the house. There's writing on the walls. There's kids' handprints. Everything that goes on par with that. The story about the man kidnapping the kids. And then they go upstairs, and
it's important to note that Mike is leading them upstairs.
Mike's leading them upstairs.
Heather's camera doesn't have any sound.
Right, and
Mike's camera does. So you hear Heather screaming kind of in the distance whenever it's kind of. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you explain this stuff way better than me anyway.
It's kind of jarring because we cut between Heather and Mike's cameras, and we whenever Heather's camera comes on the screen, it's so jarring because there's no sound coming from her camera; it's coming from Mike's. So Heather sounds really far away.
Yeah, and I actually really like that they did that because
I do too.
You're you can hear the desperation in her voice.
Oh, she's freaking out.
Yeah, she was freaking fuck out. But no, keep going, Michael. You explain.
Okay,
you're the movie person.
So we're you're a movie person now too.
Well, you know what I mean. You're the cinematography person.
So they're upstairs. Mike is kind of a ways ahead of her. He runs up the stairs. She slowly comes up the stairs. Then he's like, I hear him downstairs. So he rushes past Heather, goes all the way into the basement. Camera falls over after he looks around a little bit. Heather slowly goes down the stairs, and you just hear her. You hear her gut-wrenching screams for him.
Screaming Mike's name.
Yeah, it is great. It's so good. And she's coming down the stairs, and you can hear it louder and louder the more she comes down the stairs because she's coming closer to where Mike's camera is. She gets down into the creepy ass basement, looks around a little bit, pops over, Mike's standing in the corner. Then bam. There's no thud, there's nothing. Camera falls to the ground. That's it. That's the film.
The end.
The film runs out. I'm assuming the film ran out of batteries. Is what that was symbolizing. Like it was sat there, and then it eventually ran out of battery. So that is the ending. But Rachel, what do you think happened in this movie?
Oh, can we start with what you think happened?
I mean, I can pose to you a couple theories about it.
Okay, hold on, because you've done so much more research on this.
Oh, I know.
Because I wasn't supposed to.
I know so much about this movie. I've watched lore videos. I've watched this movie a couple of times. I've watched the sequels a couple of times. I'm a little nerd when it comes to movie. By the way, I just came back from Vegas. I did an escape room for the Blair Witch out there. It was pretty awesome.
That's how big of a nerd he is for this movie.
Yeah, I'm a big ass nerd. So safe to say, Blair Witch is in my top 10 of horror movies. But so, do you have an idea of kind of what you think happened? Because there is no definitive answer. They have not revealed what has happened in the movie.
Right. Okay. So I think that Mike was onto something when he said it was a bunch of hicks hunting them.
Okay.
And trying to scare them. And they were talking to so many people in the town. Like, so many people knew where they were going. And then they went and talked to the crazy lady, Mary.
Yes.
They went and talked to her. So one of my theories is that someone caught wind of what they were doing and was, not right in the head and just decided to go and fuck with them. And then
so you're posing a non-supernatural theory. Okay.
Yeah. And then they were so delirious from hunger and not really sleeping for a few days and just being so completely terrified all the time that I don't know, I feel like they finally just lost it when they got into the house and they could not find Josh.
So interesting that you bring that theory up. I will throw this one at you that someone has posed online and see what you think of it. There's a theory going around that Mike and Josh were in on it to kill Heather. And that's why they led her to the house. And that's why it seems almost like Mike is giving directions when he's like, I hear him upstairs. And then he says, I hear him downstairs. Like it's almost like he's signaling out to somebody.
Okay, I can see that. But
the other evidence with the theory is that they walked in a circle for that one day, and they had a compass which gets fucked up if it comes in contact with the type of batteries that are in cameras.
Okay. And
Mike also kicked the map into the creek, so that is a theory that's been posed online. What do you think of that theory of Mike and Josh being in on it to kill Heather?
Well, that would have had to be premeditated, though. Like, were they planning it from the beginning?
They knew each other before the film. So, Josh mentioned that he brought Mike. Heather first met Mike at the very beginning.
Right.
You have to remember that.
Yeah.
So they knew each other.
Okay, but then, like, why? What would be the motive behind it? Like. And where did they get the teeth? And whatever else was in that shredded up piece of Josh's.
The theory gets debunked pretty easily when you look at it from that perspective. Also, overlooking looking at the biggest theory is who would have rattled their tent. And then when they run through the woods, when Heather says, "What is that?" when she's screaming at that, they're all three running in a line.
Yeah.
So that theory does get debunked pretty easily. That's just a really popular theory that's online.
Right. But that was why I went with the whole,
the townspeople are in on it.
Yeah, some townies are in on it and just wanting to fuck around with people who are coming to their town and, like they feel territorial or something.
So, this I'm just going to be pulling
your theory.
I'm just going to be pulling the rug out from you throughout this whole podcast.
Okay.
Rachel, before you guys type in the comments, I will educate Rachel on the lore, because we did not watch the Curse of the Blair Witch documentary.
No.
So that is the companion piece that goes with this film. It came out before it. It's just to build on the lore.
Yeah, I'm totally ignorant.
Yes, Rachel is totally ignorant because I made her totally ignorant on this. This is just her reactions to all Blair Witch.
I'm your fault. Me now is your fault.
Hey, no.
And you're proud of it.
We love it. I love it. I love it. So, in The Curse of the Blair Witch, the film canisters for or the filming equipment, Heather, Mike, and Josh's film equipment, is found underneath the foundation of the house whenever students from a university come. Meaning that whoever. Okay, so let me cut back. I jumped a little too far. Rustin Parr killed those kids in the 40s.
Right.
Came into town and said, "I'm finally finished." Then then the police go up to his house, find the dead bodies of the kids. He gets put on trial, admits to it. Says that a woman told him to do it. Doesn't say it's the Blair Witch. He just says that a woman told him to do it. So he gets found guilty. They execute him. The same year, in the 40s, the townspeople go up and burn his house to the ground. In the 1940s, the house is burnt to the ground. In the 90s, in 1990, and so 94 is when the movie was supposed to take place. The couple years later, when the university went out there, it was like it was some kind of like excavation for a school project. They found in the foundations of the remains of the burned house the filming equipment for the students. So Rachel is looking at me very confused. So if Rustin Parr's house was burnt down at the end of the film, or at the end of his trial in 1940, and the students find a house that we're assuming is Rustin Parr's house, what do you think that means? Also, keep in mind, they walked south for 15 hours in one day and ended up in the same spot at the end of the day.
What do I think that means?
Yeah, what do you think of that?
It's I don't know.
Let me help you along with this.
Okay.
I'm blowing Rachel's mind with this kind of stuff.
I'm scrambled.
A really big theory, and it gets touched on in the sequel, not the Book of Shadows, but the 2016 Blair Witch, is that the Blair Witch has control of space and time in a certain area in the forest. That would explain why once they crossed a certain part of the forest, they just kept walking in circles because they're walking in like a loop. It's like they're stuck in that time period. And that would make, and she also has the ability to alter events like time, like go back in time. So that's why they were able to go to Rustin Parr's house before it was torn down. That would also explain why their footage was found in the foundation under the foundation of the house, which the professor said there's no way that someone could have done that without it being buried there first and then the house being built on top of it.
Right.
So, I mean, it's subtly hinted at in this movie. It's very explicitly touched on in the 2016 sequel. So it's that the Blair Witch controls space and time in her own area, that kind of thing.
So sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
It was stupid. I was just going to say, so basically if they had crossed that log again, they would be out of her grasp and they could have gone south.
If she would have let them leave. I mean, if she's that powerful, I'm assuming that, because they were lost before they crossed that log. Well,
yeah, that's because Mike got rid of the...
Mike kicked the fucking map in the thing. Do you think maybe the reason he kicked the map into the creek is because he was possessed by the Blair Witch? She influenced him to do it.
I mean, maybe because he was like...
He was out of his mind.
Cackling.
Yeah.
He was literally cackling and was like, I kicked it into the river, and he's laughing about it, and they're both like, what the fuck? Like, that's so fucked up. Why would you do that? And he's just laughing. And, like, he waited all day after yelling at Heather because she, quote unquote, lost the map.
Yeah, he acts like he doesn't know where it's at.
Yeah, he's laughing, or no, he's yelling at her all day and just harassing her. And then, come to find out, he actually kicked it into the creek.
Yes.
So that's a good theory.
So my big theory,
if she's real,
about this, well, yeah, no, the Blair Witch in my theory is real. Especially with the stuff that happens in Coffin Rock that they talk about, everything leading up to it, the lore based on what Eduardo Sanchez and the other director, blanking on his name at the moment, came up with. I think that based on everything, she is real. I mean, eventually when we watch the sequels, you'll probably think she's real too. But my theory is that with the story of Rustin Parr, putting the kids in the corner and killing them and whatnot, my theory is that the Blair Witch possesses Josh, because Josh is the one that kicks the rocks over at the very beginning. That's when everything happens at the beginning.
Yeah.
He kicks the rocks over. When they get chased out of the tent, his stuff is covered in slime.
Yeah, what is that about, though?
Ectoplasm, as would be my guess.
Okay.
Like from a spirit, spirits can leave like residues of stuff. Is my guess.
Okay,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's never explained.
Yeah.
But everything that gets fucked with is all Josh's stuff.
Yeah.
So my theory is that the Blair Witch possesses Josh, lures them to, she has control of that space time. So, the house is there before it gets burnt down. Josh lures them to the house possessed, and then has Mike stand in the corner while he kills Heather, and then he kills Mike.
Okay.
My theory is that the Blair Witch possesses Josh and does that. But yeah, it's been debated for, like I said, 25 years. There's so many different things. I'm really glad they went with this ending versus the other 4 endings. We touched on that they're different. I will say they're different variations of the same thing. Heather comes down. In the original one, she comes down, finds Mike in the corner.
Right.
Another one, she finds Mike hanging in the basement. Another one, she finds him crucified on a stick man that they found in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't remember what the other one is, but they're all variations of Mike in the corner.
Right.
But I do like this one because it's so ambiguous. There is something unsettling about the way that Mike is standing in the corner when she comes downstairs, because it seems so unreal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's we can't do a Blair Witch Project movie without going into the theories. Forgive us for not talking about our thoughts of like what we think of the movie from here. But now we are going to go into our thoughts of the film. Something that really, really bugged me is that Heather got a Golden Razzie Award for Worst Actor in 1999.
Yeah, I thought her acting was great.
Heather was phenomenal in this movie. She portrayed a girl that was scared, helpless, and just overwhelmed by nature. The famous shot is the shot of her holding the camera to her face, snot running down her nose, and crying about how she's so sorry to her parents and to Mike and Josh's parents.
Right, yeah.
Fun fact about that shot is Heather didn't realize that the camera was so zoomed in when they did it. So she thought it was just a full-on like selfie shot while she was taking it. She didn't realize that it was like cut off like half of her face.
Right.
But this is what makes it so iconic. It's like these are supposed to be film students that don't really know what they're doing.
Right, yeah. And the fact that these actors and actresses are actually filming themselves basically. And she had to have a crash course on how to use a camera. Yes. So, I mean, I think that it was, for it being shot by the actors and actresses themselves, it was beautifully done.
Yeah.
Because the only one who really knew what he was doing was Josh.
Sort of. I mean, if you think about it, the behind the scenes of it is. Do you remember the scene where Josh is looking? Said something about adjusting for meters, and she's like, "It has feet on it too." And she's like, "I thought you've used this camera before." And he said, "One time."
Yeah.
That's real. That's a real scene. That was improvised acting by them. That wasn't something that was in the script. So,
well, it said that one of them had
Josh got cast for his knowledge of a camera, but he lied about it.
Oh, okay.
That's
Lied on
why
his
he got
resume.
called out in the movie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But anyway,
it's crazy the behind the scenes of this movie with like them leaving stuff for the actors to find. It's almost like kind of what is that thing that people used to do when they would go into the woods and find like geocaching?
Yeah, geocaching.
Yeah. So basically it was like real life geocaching. Like they would have to go to a certain area, find their stuff. They gave them prompts for what to do for the thing. And you can tell it's very improvised. Like, I mean, the directors come and fuck with them at night. Like that's them shaking on the tent. The guy running around the pantyhose that we don't see.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, what do you think? Are you glad that you didn't see that? I'm glad that we didn't actually get to see anything in the movie.
Yeah, I feel like that would have added an aspect of fakeness.
Yes.
To it. I mean, at least for me, because I'm thinking it's real. It would have added that, just that extraness that is in your typical like horror movies.
Yes.
So I think that the fact that Josh didn't catch it, which was completely by accident, like you said he just didn't pan over
far enough.
Yeah, so I think that was like a blessing, because that would have ruined the feel of the movie. Like how, it's what they were saying in the critics, like the only thing scarier than the monsters in the dark is not seeing the monsters in the dark.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Knowing they're there, but not being able to see them. Granted, like I said, I wasn't really scared all that much, but I think that for someone else, that that probably added a lot more of the horror aspect to it.
I think as a community, because we're in the horror community now, I think that as a community we're so desensitized to scares.
How I love jump scares.
Yeah.
I think that might be what was lacking for me.
I think that what makes this movie, I think a better depiction of this one would be unsettling.
Yeah.
Than right out. Yeah, suspenseful, like kind of horrific. Because like we said, I told Rachel that it was real. My brother told me it was real the first time I watched it. And that I think that really added to it, thinking that you're watching like these last people's lives. Because people in 1999 thought the same thing. They thought that it was real. I mean, IMDb had their pages listed as missing, presumed dead. They had missing posters for all the film festivals. Like they went out of their way with marketing to make this seem like it was a real event, and I mean it worked out really well for them. They made a lot of money off this film.
Yeah. Well, Michael, how do you feel about the horror aspect of it? Like,
I think it's great. I think that honestly, it's not the best horror movie ever made, but and we're in found footage February, so we're doing other found footage movies. We just did As Above So Below last week. The thing that, and Rachel will see the more we do them, the thing about this movie is that it felt real. Like it really did. The way that they interacted with each other, like they were really nice and cordial to each other at first, and then they end up getting really shitty with each other because they're lost in the woods. They're hungry. They're upset. And the other thing that's mentioned in Heather's diary, that's part of the Curse of the Blair Witch. She's not paying Mike and Josh to be out there.
Right.
It's her film project for school. So those guys are out lost in the woods for free. They're not even getting paid.
Right. Not that they would have gotten their money anyway.
Yeah.
But
it's it's played out so well that it shows people that are not used to the woods get just unhinged because they're so lost. They don't know what to do. I think that the acting is phenomenal. I mean, oh my gosh, especially Heather. Heather is so good at being scared.
yeah.
She is fantastic at it.
And acting, her acting in the beginning when they like first start getting lost, she's like, no guys, like I know what I'm doing, and like she's just being like a smart ass and just like you think we're lost, but I know where we're at, and really she has no idea. So she plays both sides. She plays both sides very well. And then the part where she's doing that personal, up close kind of like interview of herself, where she has come to terms with the fact that she fucked up. Like she acknowledged that she got them lost and acknowledged that if it wasn't for her, none of them would be in that situation.
Yeah.
And so it was like how we always talk about, character growth. I feel like she's really the only one. Well, no, Mike had a little bit of character growth, but I feel like she really, really portrayed that very well.
Do you want to know another fun fact?
Of course.
Heather wasn't even supposed to be in the movie. It was supposed to be 3 guys.
Really?
And then when they did Heather's audition, they changed it to add Heather to it. So originally, in the original concept, Heather is not a character in this. She makes the movie. Without her,
absolutely.
It's not the same.
It's not. She absolutely, and the fact that she was the one that got the Golden Razzie Award for worst actor or worst acting. I was like, how?
Yeah, there was way worse actresses in 1999 than Heather Donahue.
Oh yeah,
you heard it here. You did not hear it here first. Everyone that covers this movie agrees. Horror fans, anyways. Horror never gets the respect it deserves, though. That's why I'm really thankful that another YouTube channel, Dead Meat, is doing like a horror award show now, and they present awards to horror movies now. I think that's something that's missing. They James and Chelsea are doing a really good job with that, and I think that they're right. Horror movies don't get the recognition they deserve. Especially, there's a lot of good acting in horror. This is a really good example of that. But in respect to this film, I think that this movie not only demonstrated what you could do with not a lot, because they shot this on like $60,000 when it was all said and done, which is nothing for a movie. $60,000 is a lot of money, but that is nothing for a movie. That's not enough to do anything. And I think that it really shows what you could do with good creativity, people that are committed to the project. I think that this is, I've gushed enough on this movie, but
no, you haven't.
But yeah, we'll eventually watch Book of Shadows, and that's its own shitstorm right there. And then Blair Witch 2016, which I will say, not a spoiler really, but if you were upset, Rachel, that nothing gets shown in this one, there's a lot fucking shown in that one.
Okay.
Kind of ruins it, I think, but I think this movie is a good capsule. It's a perfect capsule of 1990s too. Like, they are smoking, they're drinking, they just seem like 90s kids.
Yeah. The epitome of what, granted, we kind of grew up in the 90s, but we were little.
Yeah, we were like children.
Yeah, but Yeah, I'm just really surprised at, some of the critics that or some of the critiques that this movie got, because for the seriously low budget, the fact that these actors and actress acted based on prompts that they got from film reels that they had to go find in the woods. And they're not completely alone out there, but they're basically alone as far as, like, they're not being directed and told what to do. In a sense, they are, but it's handwritten on a prompt. It's not, you don't have your director there directing like a typical movie.
Yeah, he's fucking with them at night.
Yeah, he's just honestly though, like, I was thinking about it afterwards, after you told me it was fake, and like we went through all the information about it. I'm like, if that was me, I would probably be scared shitless.
Yeah, I would be too.
I'm like, I'm out here in the freaking woods, and there's people, granted, you probably know who they are, but like just screwing with you, and it's dark. And yes, as a 31-year-old woman, I am afraid of the dark sometimes, but when you're in the woods and you have like next to nothing, and you're just being messed with by your own crew, like, I would be pissed, and I would be scared, and and the fact that they didn't even get paid until what? It was like
They didn't get paid adequately
until,
they sued Artisan.
well, it was what, 4 years after? No, it was like a year or two after
When the sequel gets announced. Yeah, so about a year.
Yeah, so they don't even really get paid all that much.
They still only got $300,000 a piece for it.
Yeah, like this movie made what, 240 million? Is that what you said?
Closer to 250, but yes.
Yeah. So, and they got paid 300,000, and like it was phenomenal, and to only get paid that little, and then on top of that, they all had trouble finding work after that because they used their real identities.
Heather changed her name, got destroyed all of her Blair Witch memorabilia, and now pretty sure she grows medical marijuana, from what I've seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh acts still, and I'm not sure what Mike does. Mike quit his job on Conan O'Brien though when right as this movie came out.
He worked on
No. He had an interview with Conan O'Brien. Sorry, he didn't work for Conan O'Brien. He had an interview with Conan O'Brien to promote the film, like after it released and stuff. And he quit he used to be a furniture mover, and he quit his job on live TV.
He used to be a what?
A furniture mover, like move furniture.
Oh, I think you said furnish.
No, sorry.
Oh,
a furniture mover. So he quit his job on live TV.
That's a bold move, sir.
Bold move. I mean, he just made a movie. I don't know.
Yeah, and then
didn't get paid that well for it.
No.
I think from what I've seen, Mike and Josh had decent careers when it comes to film. Josh more so, but yeah, Heather kind of distanced herself from the whole thing. It's crazy. I mean, if you crazy, we look at characters that are like get typecast like that. I mean, look at Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. He couldn't find a job after that. That's why he switched to voice acting and did the Joker for the Batman series. People get typecast. I'm blowing Rachel's fucking mind. Rachel is a huge Star Wars fan. Mark Hamill could not find work after Star Wars because people are like, "You're Luke Skywalker."
Oh my god!
And that's why people are so hesitant to take iconic roles, because it's like some people are ashamed of that. Like people like Robert Pattinson finally got out of it. He broke his mold and he's doing more stuff. But for a while, he was Edward from Twilight.
Unfortunately.
So. You'll hear from our Twilight podcast in the next year.
Let's not even get into that.
But it ruined some people's careers. But as a whole, this movie in my opinion, is great. The acting is great. The cinematography is authentic. It's not good. It's shaky. It's all over the place. But in the context of the film, it's perfect because that's what it's it is.
Found footage.
It's found footage. And Rachel is going to see at the more the next couple episodes we cover, it really puts the stereotypes where they're at. Mm-hmm. So it's not the first found footage movie. We're not claiming that because we know it's not. We're educated people over here.
That's funny.
But it does set the standard for the genre going forward. A lot of things. It kicks off a found footage craze. A couple years later, not found footage doesn't get big really until like mid 2000s after that. But then there's a wave of them.
Right.
But so yeah, that's my thoughts. I think the cinematography, I think direction's great. I think it was perfect that they improvised everything and didn't have scripts because they felt like real characters. So I think that this is a great film.
Yeah.
Rachel, what are your kind of thoughts?
Well, hold on. I have a question.
Okay.
I know you said that you watched this when you were younger.
I did.
Your brother told you it was real.
Yes.
Just like you did to me. Do you remember how you felt after watching it that first time?
Fucking terrified. So we're sitting on the bed. My brother got it from a thing. He told me it was real. And I remember I was like, had to have been 11 or 12 and sat there. And then the movie ended, like, Heather's camera drops. And I went, what happened? And he went, I don't know. And then he went, good night. And then he got up, walked out, went to bed. And I'm like, and you know what the best part is? Rest in peace, Ryan. I love you to death. I miss you every day. That fucking asshole never told me it was fake. I found out on my own. Looking it up one day because I wanted to know what happened in it. This dude never told me the movie was fake. Don't judge me, chat, because I didn't have internet at my house, so I can't just Google stuff willy-nilly. I had to Google it when I was at school one day. So I went like 3 months thinking this thing was fucking real, and there's kids that just died. I didn't sleep for 2 days. I did not sleep for 2 days.
Oh my gosh.
So sorry.
Thanks for telling me that it was fake right after we watched it because my initial reaction was the same thing. Like, well, what the heck happens? Like, and you're like, we don't know. And I was like, what? No. That my brain doesn't accept that. We need more information.
Well, to be fair, I mean, we still don't know what happens. It's all theory.
Right, but still, like the fact that it's not real. Actually, no, I feel like if it was real, that would be even worse because you really don't know.
I wouldn't be if I can go to Maryland, that's for sure.
I don't think I'm going there now. How about we take a map that is, actually routed out instead of just taking it and thinking we know where we're going?
Well, that's part of Heather's character. She thinks she is such a film student.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, do you remember?
I've got this.
Do you remember the cemetery scene where she's like so pretentious and stuff about talking about like the kids dying and stuff, and she seems like such a film student.
Yeah, so she does all this research and then she acts like she knows everything about this legend.
So Rachel, give me your overall thoughts. What did you enjoy yourself? What did you think?
I mean, like I said before, I wasn't really like there was like maybe 1 or 2 instances where I was actually like kind of like scared. So as far as the horror aspect, that did kind of fall flat for me a little bit. I still thought it was a great movie.
Okay.
I did think it was a good movie. The suspense and the not knowing, especially because I'm somebody who needs to know details. I'm a detail-oriented person. And the fact that you're really, besides what, the interviews from the beginning and then what Heather tells you, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So I really liked that. Loved the acting. It was phenomenal. I'm still very upset about the bad acting awards that Heather got. Very upset. I'm taking that personally. But yeah, the horror aspect kind of fell a little flat for me, but that's not, that's not really saying anything about the quality of the movie. I enjoyed it. I could see why, you're so gung ho about it. Uh all in all, it was a good watch.
Yeah.
Glad we did this.
I agree. So now we've gotten our unhinged theories out of the way. We've gotten synopsis and we've gotten our thoughts out. We're going to go into our rating system now.
And you're going first.
I am going first. What better way to rate this with a vacation than a trek through the woods? a nice little hike, where you don't get lost.
Okay.
You go through. Say you're going on a hike and you walk. You take it in nature. You take it in all this beauty, and then you come across something like unexpected. Like maybe you see like a cave or something. You go explore that. You're like, oh, this is a lot of fun. This is not what I was expecting with my trip, but I'm having a good time. That's kind of like the gist I'm getting with this movie is going into it blind is the perfect way to go into this. And I think that a vacation where you have an expectation of, oh, this is a horror movie. You're expecting spooky stuff to happen, and then your expectations get subverted by not seeing anything because we don't see anything in the movie. I think that that's like the perfect vacation for that. Is like going in blind, thinking one thing, like this is a trek through the woods and a hike, and then coming across something cool, maybe an abandoned house in the woods. Would not go into it, by the way.
So you might be the only person to think that's
might
cool
not go through it, but yeah, I think this is as a general vacation, something that you plan out and expect, but then you get a lot of unexpected nice surprises along the way, like you would if you hiked through some densely woods like these people. Hopefully, you don't get lost, though.
Right. So my vacation. I would say kind of similar.
Okay.
Except instead of going for a hike, going camping.
Okay.
But going camping somewhere that you've never been. And that's not like, a typical campground. Like those people who literally just pack up a tent and some stuff and just pick a direction and go, because they're directionally functioning, unlike me.
So spontaneous.
Spontaneous, like camping trip, and you just don't know what's gonna happen. Anything could happen. A bear could come upon your campsite, or wolves, or maybe nothing happens. But all in all, you learn some stuff about yourself and have a good time.
Yeah, I like that. I agree with that. So would you recommend this film?
Yes, I would.
In general? Or?
Yeah, honestly. Not like I typically do with how it's a specific group of people. I just think if I would recommend it to anybody. I mean, it's a good watch.
I agree. I think that especially if you're a horror fan, you have to watch this movie.
It's a must see.
It's a must watch. There's certain movies that, whether you love it or hate it, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain movies that you just have to watch to experience. If you're a horror fan, this is a must watch.
Yeah, because it's a different type of horror. Like, granted, like, it's not very scary, like I said, but in my opinion, but it is a type of horror movie that, even other found footage films, like Paranormal Activity and stuff.
Yes.
You don't get this, I almost want to say, like, quality of realness like you get with this movie. And I don't know if that is because I thought it was real, or just how phenomenal the acting and the footage was.
We'll give it a second watch before we watch the sequels. That way we're still with the timeline.
Okay.
But that will be for another year or so. But yeah, you heard it here first. You heard it here first, not first. Having a real hard time speaking today. But yeah, those are our thoughts on the Blair Witch Project. We really thank you guys for listening. Please, if you like this podcast, give us a like, subscribe, comment, tell us your thoughts on the Blair Witch. Give us your own theories. We'd love to read them and hear about them.
Michael would absolutely love some.
I will read every comment and I will look at them all. Trust me. I'll even interact with you guys in the comments. But yeah, please, if you enjoy this podcast, tell your friends about it. Share it. We're trying to grow, but we thank you guys for listening. We thank you for the support and all the love. It really means a lot to us. But until next time, thank you guys for listening. This is the Undead Celluloid Society. My name is Michael.
And I'm Rachel.
And we thank you guys for listening.
It wasn't the longest.